Hey guys, and welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast. How are we doing? We are joined today by Aaron Childs and Dean Keeber from Northamptonshire Fire and Rescue Service. These guys are some pretty fit and healthy guys, whether it's rowing, whether it's running up and down towers, whether it's sprinting out hose, rescuing casualties, or just getting after it in the fire station gym. Today we're going to talk about the British Firefighter Challenge. We're going to talk about their recent victories, getting on really well in the Cheshire Firefighter Challenge as well. We also go into their story of the fire service. So why did they even join? Why do people join the fire service these days? What's in it for people? What's the difference between whole time? What's the difference between retained? What's the difference between on call? We get into the mental health side of the fire service. They share with their families, they share with their team, they share with their watch, they share with their colleagues in the service. How do they get through things? This is a really powerful episode. There's some great hints, there's some great tips about physical fitness, about staying fit and healthy, about balancing family and the fire service. This is a really, really great episode. And once again, we are sponsored by the wonderful William Wood Watches. WilliamWoodWatches.com. This kit has been made with 10 years fire service experience in the materials. You carry it right there on your wrist. Once forgotten, now reborn. Head to WilliamWoodWatches.com and grab one of these beautiful watches for the fire service support. You ready to hear from Dean and Aaron? Okay, let's get in there, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Dean, Aaron, welcome to the Firefighters Podcast. How are we doing, fellas?
Good, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you for travelling down. Now, obviously, seeing you both at Firefighters competitions before, but I wanted to get you down. I wanted the listeners to sort of how it feels to be operational firefighter for a number of years, but you continually challenge yourself. How your sort of career has been in the fire service and how you've sort of managed to keep yourself fit and active. So you recently did one of the challenges, didn't you?
Yeah, that's correct. We did the Cheshire Virtual Firefighter Challenge this year. And we did quite well.
So the Firefighter Challenge one, that's the so John Gregory's the British Firefighter Challenge. Is that all sort of based around the same thing, or how does that work?
Yeah, so Cheshire normally hold a annual event, but obviously with the COVID restrictions this year, Cheshire still wanted to put something on. It was different to how the normal setup is of the BFC and the Cheshire Firefighter Challenge.
How much does fitness play in your sort of day-to-day role? Because I think people have an idea of what it is to be a firefighter, but probably not when we're on station actually getting after it.
Yeah, for myself, I've always been into fitness. I've always strived, again, with targets and try and better myself, mentally, physically. And when I discovered this sport, the Firefighter Challenge, I've just become addicted to it,
How long have you been in the service?
2014.
2014 you joined, yeah. How long have you been in, Aaron?
I've been in since 2002, so I was retained when I was 18, and then I got into whole time in 2009.
So you've been in since you were 18?
Yeah, it's something I always wanted to do. So when it's got to British Firefighter Challenge, I was like, this is fantastic. I've always been into my fitness because part of the role, you've got to be quite fit and healthy. And then to actually do something that's part of your role, staying functional, staying healthy, like this is fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant.
But it's not mandatory, people don't have to do these firefighter competitions. So why bother? What's been your trigger for it?
I suppose, so for my trigger, joining at 18, you have that's where I found the gym. That's where I found where I wanted to be fit and healthy.
So what was your fitness like before you joined the fire service?
I'm 6'5", so I was
You're a big guy.
I was 6'5", at 18 years old. I was tall, lanky, like a beanpole.
I was the same.
So I knew that. I went for my initial fitness tests, and I really struggled on the extending of the ladder. So my upper body strength wasn't the best, but I got through.
So people that don't know what that means, the extending of the ladder. Most people think of a ladder, you just lean up against the wall and get on it. So what are you on about extending the ladder?
Sorry. So with the extending the ladder, we carry a 13.5 metre ladder.
Okay.
So of course, when it's vertical. We have to extend the ladder to maybe to a certain point of where we want to put it into the window. Having that upper body strength potentially doing it on your own, you need to be able to extend this ladder.
I always think about it for people that don't quite understand maybe what we're talking about. It's like a lat pull down, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you've got a big hanging line basically in the middle of the ladder.
Yes.
And there's 3 sections of the ladder, and it's a pulley system, isn't it? So as you pull down on it, it's like 15, 20 kilos. How much is the pull?
I'm not too sure, but
it's heavy, isn't it?
It is heavy.
It is heavy. And plus you're lifting it right in the middle. You know, it's not a lat pull down like you're lifting out by your sides.
No.
It's both hands in the middle, gripping on a rope as well, and in fire gloves as well. So it's not the best for it. But that was a bit you struggled with.
Yeah, and that was the bit I struggled with. I'm happy to admit that. You know, and I found myself where I had a bit of a weakness in my fitness, and that's where I found the gym, and that's where I then tried to gain my strength and gain my fitness, and that was. And then everything sort of carried on from there. And
was there any aspects you struggled with when you first joined, Dean? Because you joined, how old were you when you joined?
So I joined later on in life. I'd have been 35.
See, now for some people, I mean, we've got people in our service who joined when they're like 50 years of age. But even at 35, people might be in a solid career, quote unquote, and they're feeling like, oh no, I've missed my chance or whatever. What made you want to join? So you used the phrase later on like Aaron did.
Yeah, so it's a job I'd always wanted to do. But during, my younger years and in my 20s, I'd lacked a bit of self-belief. I used to look at the job and think, I'd love to do that, but I just couldn't, I just used to sort of put myself down and say...
I think a lot of people feel that way,
Yeah.
It's like then they put people on a pedestal like the firefighters as some gods that are like, I could never do that. And it's crazy to hear you were kind of there at one point as well.
Yeah, that was it. That was me looking at them, looking at them as sort of God sort of thing.
And now you're kicking ass against them toe to toe.
Exactly,
so you were 35 and you thought, no, I could never do that.
Yeah, so what we did, we moved to, not intentionally, but we moved to a town that had a retained fire station. And it was still a good few years. People would ask, you should join, you should go for it. And I was like, no. What
were you doing at the time?
I was a postman.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a postman for 20 years. And I got stuck in a bit of a rut, really.
Are they still called postmen? Because like the whole sexist thing, is it postman, post lady? Because now it's like firefighters, isn't it? Everybody used to think firemen.
I think it's postman and postwoman.
Is it?
As simple as that.
I don't know if they come up with some like gender neutral term for it or something. It's one of those things that still exists.
Not that I know of, yeah. So I was doing.
So you were a postie?
Yeah, while I was still at school, I was working for them. And then I joined the retained in my local town, and I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And
what did you love about it?
Just that adrenaline buzz, that moment of knowing you've done good, you've helped someone, the pride of it as well. So I thought to myself, no, I can do this. This is something I'm going to do. I will become a whole-time firefighter.
You've got kids, haven't you?
I have.
Did you have any kids when you joined?
Yes, I did. Yeah, they're 11.
Because a lot of people see that as a barrier. Do you know what I mean? Some people are like, oh man, I should have done it before X, before I got the job, before we bought the house, I got the mortgage, before we had the kids, but you had kids when you joined, so that wasn't a barrier for you.
Yeah, no, certainly no barrier for me.
If anything, I think of it like the opposite. Because again, we've got people in our service that join a bit later in life, and they feel like it's an inspiration for their kids. Because how can they turn to their kids and say, I always had a dream, I always wanted to do this, and the kid will be like, well, Dad, Mum, why don't you do it? What was stopping you from doing it?
Exactly,
and you went for it.
Yeah, my 2 kids are so proud of what I do.
They came up. They've seen him at a couple of the comps. They come to France as well, didn't they?
They did come to France with us. Yeah,
that's epic. It was great meeting your family.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, my lad, he talks about you in our house, Pete, and this and that.
That crazy weird dude jumping in ice and whatever.
You made quite an impression on.
I love him, mate. I love.
So yeah, the whole time process sort of kicked on, sort of more or less straight away from joining. Retained. I started with.
What does retain mean then? Because obviously I've got an idea of it. For people that might be listening, and Aaron, you've got a better understanding of it as well. Some people hear on call. Some people hear retained, and then like, what's the difference? Are you like a pretend firefighter? Is that what's going on? I mean, what's the difference?
No, so with the retained, you have a full-time employment, and you can then respond with an alerter.
Yep.
And you could be anywhere. You can shopping, you can be at work.
Out to the cinemas, in the garden, at someone's birthday, anybody. Yeah. And people forget it's exactly the same training as well, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So you still have to do exactly the same training. And
same qualification, same kit, same fire engines.
That's right. It's just that your commitment is that you are responding from your home, from your work, from wherever you are, and responding down to the station and getting your kit.
And morbidly, I kind of like that a bit more. Do you know what I mean? You know when you're in a supermarket and the alert goes off and you're like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. And it feels that within you, you're like, somebody needs help right now. And I, and as part of a team and part of the wider fire service, have sort of given that responsibility and or opportunity to really make a difference. Because whenever somebody rings 999, I always think, you've got to remember, they're having the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
To you, it may or may not just be another job. But for some people, they'll go, I've never rang 999. And what it takes for them to ring, some people are, I'm having the worst day of my life. And you then become part of that memory.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They'll
Yeah.
go, you know, I called the fire service once and what was his name? Aaron. This guy Aaron came out, right? And he helped me. Do you know what I mean? Dean cut my kid out of the car. They climb up the ladder and it was Aaron that was there. It was Pete that was there. And you become part of that story. And they'll tell that story forever.
Yeah.
Very rare do I think it is now where you've got an opportunity in a job to do something like that. But I mean, what were your motives for joining Aaron? Because 18 is really young. You say you'd always wanted to do it. Was your dad in? Was your mum in? Where did it come from?
No, none of my parents weren't in the fire brigade or any emergency service, and no one really knew. It was just something. It's just one of those. When you're younger, as a kid, I don't know. It's that thought of maybe being a hero. Like you're saying when you're saying about the kids and there's no BS.
No BS.
As a kid, I want to be a hero. I want to do something. And wow, look at the fire brigade. Look, you know.
How many people get talked out of that?
I think it's quite easy because.
People grow up, Aaron. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
but I mean?
At the time when I was trying to join, it's very, very, and it still is a very popular job.
Yeah.
You get thousands of applicants trying to join a whole-time fire service.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy to be, oh, come on, you're going to struggle to get in.
Yeah, you're not really that good, are you?
No.
That self-doubt creeps in.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm a lanky 6'5". I'm 35. There's a bunch of 18-year-olds applying for this. For God's sake, what's the point of me doing it? You know, and you got that in the back of your mind. If you're the fattest, the oldest, the youngest, the tallest, the thinnest, standing there at the induction, wearing the old battered fire kit, trying to pull the ladder up, and you're like, this is a joke. Who am I trying to kid? Do you know what I mean? So what helped you get through that? Because there'll be people applying that keep getting knocked back. I mean, people go years and years applying for it.
Yeah, that's right. And so I'll say I've done my retains and I knew that, and then I had to do something to build my strength up. But then it's just getting that confidence as well, because knowing that I'd then pass that stage, I'm like, you know what, I can do this. You start responding to your shouts and start actually helping people and realising that I am good at this job. I can do this, and I will get into whole time. And you make all those applications. And at the time when I was applying, when you could apply for quite a few brigades at the same time.
Yeah. People travel up and down the UK applying for fire services, trying to get in anywhere.
I went everywhere. I went to Hampshire. I applied for Bucks 2-3 times, Bedfordshire and Luton.
Yeah.
I was all over the place because I really wanted to do the job. And
But how many people now will look at you? How old are you now?
I'm 36.
36 people look at you now and go, oh God, it was easy for you. You've always been a firefighter. You don't, you know, I went for that once and, you know, I didn't get through, to be honest. And they'll be like, it was easy for you. But you're like, no, I went 6-7 times.
It took me 7 years to get in. So it's a long time. 7
you know
years
what I
of
mean?
commitment.
Sorry, you're not successful this time.
That's
Oh,
right,
I got through to the physical. Sorry, you're not successful this time. Oh, I got through to the interview. Sorry, you're not successful this time. The memory test. Sorry, you're not successful. And you're like, you know what, how many times, you know, it's that bit there. Everyone's got their line where they're like, do you know what I mean? It's just not for me.
Yeah, I think there's very, very few people that get in first time. Obviously, there are people, but it's certainly one of those jobs where you just can't give up. You've got to see what you failed on, what you weren't successful at, and then work on that. You know, and then, like you say, the next, the same with me as well. I think there's about 4 brigades in the end, but you fail on the next step. Right, I'm going to strengthen myself on that one. I mean, I even went to the extent of paying £2,000 to have my eyes fixed because I got to the medical of one. I failed the eye test. Yeah. So I was like, for goodness sake, you know. Yeah. So I thought, well, I'm not giving up. I'll go away. And
How rare do you think that is now, though, in like this instant gratification culture that we've got, where it's like, you know what, I'll try a bit, but if it ain't here now, then, and even just the way we live our lives, you know, you want something now, you haven't really got to work as hard for it. No. You want something, you want to buy something, get off Amazon here tomorrow. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you want to watch 7 series of Netflix, you ain't got to wait for next week for the next episode, you just watch it now. Yeah. And we're getting trained on instant gratification. So when people were here, you know, Aaron's gone 6-7 times, Dean tried for year and year and year and year and year. How do we cultivate that now still? How do we sort of nurture that in people that you got to persevere, guys? There's no one's handing you anything on a plate. There's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, most certainly. I think especially now with the situation that's going on, and not just within the fire brigade, but all sorts of employment. You know, a lot of people are losing their jobs at the minute, and you've got to really knuckle down and go and go after what you want. Like you say, nobody's going to hand you anything on a plate.
You've got to be willing to adapt as well.
You've got to, yeah.
When I hear what you say about, you know, your eyes and adapting your fitness and getting stronger and going again and going again, to me, when I hear that, I think it's basically a wider analogy for when you're in the job anyway. Because whenever you show up anywhere, you haven't got all of the right tools perfectly in the right place all the time. You're turning up with a toolbox and a bunch of guys and girls with skill sets. But you've got to try and apply them to a situation that's not designed for you to work perfectly within. It's all a learning environment. And you come back from the job, what could be done better, what could be done worse? We saved that person, we didn't save that person. We saved this building, we didn't save that building. We did it in 10 minutes, could we do it in 5 minutes? What went wrong, what could have gone quicker? And you've always got to be willing to adapt and improvise. And I suppose this comes on to what you guys have now gone into physically. So, I mean, Aaron, you got into the service, you'd improved your fitness.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, that would be like, I'm there now. Do you know what I mean? I'm in. Boom, high five. Tea and medals all around, fellas. What made you want to go, I'll have a look round and see what else is out there for me?
I don't know, really. That's a really hard question because, say, I've loved the fire brigade. Full stop. It's a brilliant job. It's the
Cut
best
you
job.
in half. It says fire service down the middle.
Best job in the world. Absolutely brilliant. So then, of course, I love my fitness, as I said. So I cracked on with my fitness. But then you just get to a point where, do you know what? I can push some weights. I can run. You just need something that little bit more.
And it looks like it's challenging to the outside world, but you've been doing it year in, year out.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, just, you know what? If I'm honest, it's not challenging me anymore. How can I raise the bar?
Yeah, and you get to the point where I can push the weights, and you get bored, and then all of a sudden your fitness starts dropping off because you are bored. So you need that something new. And as I said, the British Firefighter Challenge, that sort of came along. I saw it and I thought, do you know what? I can do that. It gives me something else to push for.
So when was the first year you went for it?
So first year I went for was Bury St Edmunds. So that was my first year. So I have listened to your previous podcast with John.
Love John Gregory. Shout out to John.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So I was listening to that, and he was saying about Nottinghamshire. So I missed the first couple, which I'm really gutted about.
Yeah.
But he was building up on it.
Yeah.
Nottinghamshire. 70 odd people pushing for a year.
Yeah.
Come to Watford. Watford. It was Leicestershire, wasn't it?
Yeah, Leicestershire held it. Yeah.
So then he held it there. So then Bury St Edmunds was the next one. That was when I first got the bug for it.
That was a great comp, wasn't it? It was fantastic. I love where it was set. Did you guys camp over, stay over at all?
I stayed in a travel lodge like 20 minutes away, so I had to.
We stayed on like a big scout camp.
Yeah,
it was awesome. There was like massive trees, and we all sat around a campfire. And it's something about the competitions where you're just around everyone of a like-minded sort of nature. Do you know what I mean? You get that overwhelming feeling that you look left, right, wherever. There's people that have that same moral compass.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of competition, but you're just like, you're there all for this good overarching feeling of being part of that big sort of fire service family. It's crazy.
And it was the respect as well.
Yeah.
Because you knew how hard everyone was working.
Everybody gets it.
It was roasting. We were talking about it on the way here and how hot it was on the day.
It was magic, wasn't it?
It's absolutely amazing. But
30 degrees on one of the days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was something, wasn't it? Because there's a few people passed out.
Yeah, the very first day is the day I raced. I think it was about 35, 36 degrees. It was one of the I think it was the hottest day.
And just for people that hear that, you weren't just running in shorts and t-shirt. I mean, give anybody that hasn't seen you guys, I mean, I think there's some stuff on YouTube with you guys, but what else was going on? You weren't just running up and down shorts and t-shirt.
No, absolutely not. No, it's full fire kit.
We wish.
You think fire kit is designed to stop the heat coming in?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's preventing the heat getting out as well.
It works both ways.
Yeah, exactly. So your body temperature is
it's like boiling the bag, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
and then you've got your cylinder and kit on as well.
Cylinder, helmet, big boots, big clumsy boots as well.
So it's a good 20, 30 kilos worth. I mean, because the sets are about 20 kilos with the cylinder on, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. And the fire kit and say that the helmets and boots as well, that's definitely another 5-10 kilos there.
It's wonderful to see people running boots first time. Because they see you guys, they see us sprinting up and down 50 metres, whatever it is, and it looks fairly slick-ish, but it is just a glorified pair of wellies, isn't it? That's what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, like I say, they're cumbersome. They're heavy. Running up the stairs, sometimes you run up the stairs at home and you can trip or whatever, but coming down the stairs as well.
The amount of people that train going down the stairs. Do you know what I mean? Rob is fantastic at going downstairs, which sounds so ridiculous, but he is faster than anybody.
So fast. Every single step.
boom. It's just, it is. And he says, I specifically trained for it because people got it backwards. You know what I mean? A lot of big, powerful legs can punch upstairs. Yeah, but you see him go, it's just, and when he turns as well, he has a bruise on his forearm when he spins around the pole each time he hits a half landing. And I'm like,
pinches the skid.
Dude's nailed that.
Yeah.
Dude's nailed that.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot of skill to that, and there's a lot of time to be made up as well.
Yes,
with the descent.
Massive.
I remember the first one I did. I was like, I'll use the descent as a rest. It's not a rest. When you like you say, you've got all the gear on, the BA set on your back, and that weight is going straight through your thighs, on the way down, and they're absolutely blasted from going up as well. So it's not. And
it's almost like you're okay-ish going down, but I don't know if you've seen it a couple of times when people get all the way down, they hit the floor. Yeah. Some people just hit the deck. I saw. Did you see that lad who stacked it straight into the force machine? The guy with force machine proper stacked it face first. It was okay. And there was one lad that broke his arm on it though. Did you see him?
Yeah, that was one of my teammates.
Oh man,
that was one of my teammates. Yeah.
So bring us back, Aaron. So the Bruce Evans was your first one because that's where it all happened. So how was your first comp?
Oh, brilliant! Absolutely fantastic. And so that's the first time I got the buzz, and I was so close. I was gutted, but like I say, it was such a hot day. I ran in the afternoon. I think I ran on the Saturday.
So close to what? So
a decent time. So they have categories. Yep. Spoken about on the previous podcast. So they have the categories, and you have your age groups, and then you obviously have the overall winner of the whole competition. So in my age group, I come fourth, but I got a penalty, so I was a bit gutted. So I would have come third, but if I hadn't got my penalty, because you get penalties for certain things at certain stations.
Where did you pick your penalty up?
Kaiser Forstall.
What would you do wrong? I forget yours.
So mine was, as I've gone to strike the metal beam, the hammer's twisted. So I hadn't had a full grip on the sledgehammer. So it's twisted, so you get your penalty on that.
Because you can damage the kit really,
that's
really
right, yeah. So they're very strict on that, which I understand.
Rightfully so, you've got to grip it. Do you remember when I threw it?
Yes, I do.
So we went to France and it just went straight through my legs and it was like just spinning. I was so clear I didn't hurt anybody, to be honest with you. And I was like, I was going to boom, landed right there. And I still beat the dude.
You did,
So that was a nightmare though. So you picked up the penalty. So other than that, you'd be through.
Other than that, I would have got third. So I was a bit gutted about that, but that's obviously in the past. I can't be doing that. And then like in the overall competition, I come ninth. So I was like, do you know what? It's not too bad.
Pretty solid.
I just need to obviously start doing a little bit better.
Yeah. Where did you think your areas were? Because obviously you say about the force machine, but that's a small technique piece. How did you do? Because a lot of people struggle with the drag at the end. So you drag a 70 kilo casualty, which for people out there is 11 stone, little 11.5 stone.
Yeah. So you're carrying.
It's a proper person.
It's not a
person.
Yeah, it's not. You're not messing around. No. You're carrying a person. Yeah. So it's very realistic of what you're doing in your job.
So many people blow out there as well.
Yes, and that's the one where Dean was saying about your legs burning. Absolutely. By that time, while you've done everything else, you come to pick up this 70 kilogram casualty. Yeah. Drag it 50, 60 meters.
Yeah. How many people fall over that?
I know, and your legs.
That's my biggest fear. I mean, you're there. You stacked it, didn't you, on that?
I did. Yeah. My first race was at Leicester.
Yeah.
I went into that race thinking, I'm fit. I'll be all right. I'll be all right at this. And I think by the time I got to the top of the tower, I realised I wasn't fit. I wasn't race fit. With regards to the dummy, I fell over 3 times.
Because once you go on once, sometimes you're like, I've got to speed up now because I've fallen over. And you speed up, bang, gone again.
Exactly.
Gone again.
I was racing this German guy. I'm good friends with him now. Still keep in touch with him. And he was good. He was quick. So I was doing my best to keep up with him. And I was just giving it 100% from the start. And I did the old fatal one of how far is it to go now? Oh, I'll have a look.
Glance shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Bang.
Glance over the shoulder. That was it. My heels struck the ground and I went down. Absolutely stacked it.
And what was in your mind? What happens when you're doing that?
Well, first of all, it was embarrassment. No, my kids are in. I could hear my son saying, "Come on, Dad, get up."
Why is Daddy on the floor, Mum? Yeah, it's not the finish yet, is he? No, baby, it's not the finish yet. But just resting.
I went down, and I just remember my thighs were solid. They must have been full of blood, lactic acid, and that. And I tried to pick that dummy up. I got it up. And as you know, once you lose your grip on that dummy, there's no.
You really want one pickup. One pickup is what you got to go for.
And I went again, and I was down, and I was a metre from the line, and I went down again for a third time, and in the end, I just managed to pull his legs over the line. It becomes
just scramble then, doesn't it? It's just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, I was gutted, absolutely gutted with it, but it was a massive learning curve that first race. I learned it's not just about fitness. There is a tactical side to it, skill to it, experience. You can't be experienced.
Rolling up the hose. How'd you go on rolling up the hose?
That's the point where you're like, I'm starting to get tired now.
Yeah.
And then you're leaning over. You can't breathe.
Yeah. Set comes and hits you in the back of the head.
The weight of it, all your kit anyway. So all of a sudden you're having to crouch down to lean over to.
Now you need to get intricate. Yeah. I need to do a lot of dexterity now. I need to this, I need to that. And some people it just goes absolutely out the window.
It's all of a sudden you're trying to go as fast as you can because you can't breathe. You want to get it done quickly. But then you end up with a walnut whip. And so it ends up working.
Because you've got to fit it in a box. You know what I mean? If people haven't seen it, you can't just, I just want you to bundle it all up in your arms because they ain't going to go in a box.
Yeah. So if you've not done a good job, you've got to get it pretty much neat.
I don't think I've actually seen anybody have to do it again. You've seen a lot of people scrambling with spaghetti trying to push it in the box at the end.
Yeah.
But never having to roll it. But when you see some of them do it at speed, do you know what I mean? I spent a lot of time practicing with that, and I really enjoy it because once you've got about 2-3 turns, and you can just flick it. Do you know what I mean? People try and roll it because we've all learnt at training school like roll the hose, tap it, pack it in, roll it a little bit further, tap it. But this, it's just like tap, 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 and then just basically chase it.
Yeah. I mean, there is a technique where you can just, and I said to you when you was doing your Cheshire, when I was supporting you, is let the hose do the work. Give it that push, give it a push, just let it roll itself. Push,
just
push,
guide it as you go, and just let it go, and then run, and then try and whip it straight up at the end. Yeah, some people do it.
Yeah, there's a lad from one of the Northern Brigades. I can't remember which one it is now, but he uses the lugs. Yeah. I've seen he uses the lugs just to spin it, and it's done neat as anything. And you've
got to get lucky with the hose there, though, haven't you, as well? Because you get bad lugs. Do you know what I mean? You got your own stuff on the pumps and stuff. You get the odd one that just ain't clicking, it's not been greased or whatever, and it just ain't gonna work.
Nice new hose, and then that's it.
And you're laughing, You see the people that have done it for a long time who walk in the course. Do you know what I mean? They're like, just a good inch that way, just inch this way, and they're looking at the hose and they're checking the hose pack, and they're just slowly doing a few different bits. And people that want their side as well. Yeah. So when you're running up a certain side of the stage, you're like, no, I don't want to turn right. I need to turn left. But I love that because you get what you're given. And somebody said it when me and John went against each other. Like, John was like, Pete, which side do you want to go? Because you can choose. I'm like, John, I don't care. You put me wherever you like, brother. Just point me in the right direction and press play. So let's just go for it. Because I love how much some people put into it, but I also know that, like you've sort of alluded to, you can't fake fitness. When it gets to that level and you've got all of that kit on, there's a lot of technique involved, but you've got to have a real solid baseline line of fitness. I mean, how was your training going for this sort of stuff, Aaron?
So with as we was talking about COVID, it was a struggle because all the gyms were shut. But with our job, we are some of the luckiest people because we still have to keep our fitness. Yeah. So we have some good equipment at the fire stations.
Pretty much most fire stations in the UK will have a gym of some form.
They've got to have some way to keep you fit. Yeah. So the way I had to do it was, the gym's not there anymore. I'm going to have to start trying to do something on station and making sure that I commit to it. So that's what I ended up doing. I had to adapt and use the equipment that we've got to then help me, to do
so
what
that involve. I mean,
do
you train in your kit, or do you just how do you simulate it?
I suppose I'll mix it up a little bit. So I'll do it just in my PT kit, shorts, t-shirt, trainers, maybe wear my gloves, depending on what I'm doing. So then I'll just keep it nice and basic. Have some circuits, do farmers walks, do a bit of running, just obviously keep the heart rate, keep the blood flowing. And then when I'm starting to then look at going into the competitions, then that's when things start going into, right, let's get some kit. Let's get the BA set on. Let's start doing things slowly and working your way up to getting up to that type of fitness, because realistically you can't be doing that type of full on smack, let's go, bang, let's go. You need to work your way up to
you just dialing it up to the event, because also you're trying to go, people say, I did a session today, it's good, I was in there for about 2 hours, blah blah blah, and I'm like, for the event like that, it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
A minute and a half, some of them, depending where you compete in and what sort of stuff. Then it's not about going and going and going for ages and ages and ages. You've got too much in the tank there. You need to be able to blow it in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, my training is basically what I did was after Leicester and after a couple of other events, I was sort of trying to guess my training. So what I did was I went out and basically hired someone, a coach who he's not in the fire brigade or anything like that, but I've shown him the race, what it involves, and he's just based all my training. Basically, all the training I do revolves around my job and the Firefighter Challenge.
Awesome. So what sort of stuff they got you doing?
So we do a lot of strength work with regards to the big moves like the deadlift, which obviously replicates lifting up the casualty. Yeah. Squats, because as you know, it requires so much
explosive power getting up them stairs and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of explosive stuff we do. So we do a lot of box jumps, working on explosive power. Rows and the upright rows, you know, for the
hauling.
haul.
Man, we haven't even spoken about the hauling. Hauling, when you talk about saving time, that is a real game changer. You can get a quick haul. Because some people just can't even get over the top. Yeah. It's heavy.
It is heavy, yeah. And again, we're talking about the hose, but the same can happen with the line as well on the haul. If you're not pulling that line behind you.
Pass it out the way. Otherwise, like exactly, I had it the first year I did it. It dropped like 3 meters because I grabbed a bit of slack. Yeah. And it just drops down. You're like, oh,
that's that technique thing again, isn't it? A lot of it is the practicing the technique.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. So you got your deads, you got your squats. What else they got you doing?
Yeah, so I work on the strength stuff, and then I'll usually finish off a session with some high intensity work. Yeah. So like you were saying, the race is with the combat challenge is around about 2 minutes, and then the BFC is between 3 and 4 minutes. So my high intensity stuff will literally be no more than 2 to 4 minutes. Yeah. So I'll be using the assault bike, the rower, stuff like that to get the heart rate. Right
so
up.
How does the British one compare to some of the other challenges you've done? I mean, you came over and we did France. Did you go do Toughest Firefighter Live? Have you done Germany as well? What ones have you done?
No, so I've done. I went to tours with you. Yeah. Had some success there. I won the over 40s one and won the over 40s.
I didn't win anything,
tandem.
I don't think.
And then abroad, I've also been to Berlin last year with Team GB lads and Linz in Austria. Yeah. So the difference is it's a shorter course, the combat challenge, but everything's heavier. Yeah, everything is heavier. The hauling, the hose drag. It's a fully charged hose. Yeah, and also the dummy is a lot heavier, and it's more awkward as well. It's that rigid one.
The one's in France, isn't it?
Sorry,
combat challenge was in France.
Yes, that is the one we did in.
And do it under air as well.
And under air as well.
So this is the big factor. People seeing the British Firefighter Challenge will see us running around with our sets on our back. But I mean, for you, how does the factor of actually having it on? Because most people will see it and they'll be like, "Oh, you're like breathing air, isn't it?" So what's the difference?
Yeah, it's a big difference. First of all, regards getting your breath in is one, and secondly, having the mask on your face as well with regards to your vision, especially when you're going up and down the stairs at speed. Yeah. Because as you know, if you're looking down without a mask on, you can see. If you're looking down with a mask on, you've got to actually. Yeah, face your head down as well. You've got the lung demand valve, you've got the oronasal, it all
sits about an inch or so out from your face. And like you say, it kind of restricts you in to not being able to see a great deal. Plus, it's like forced breathing. As he was saying, you can't breathe easily with them on. Yeah,
it's I'd say it's normally when you take a breath in, it's nice cool air, and
we're here at atmospheric pressure. It's normal.
Yeah,
fairly effortless.
But like you're saying, with the face mask on, your peripheral vision that can obviously disorientate you. Obviously, you have to physically move your head, so then that's you actually having to physically move your body. Which it does. It takes energy out of you, doesn't it? I haven't done anything like that, so it's.
You need to get you over there.
I'm really looking forward to having a go at it because Dean's been saying on about going over there and you should do it, and obviously I've watched you guys, I've watched your videos, I've watched Dean, I've watched yourself, P. You see all the other people that do it, and you're like, oh my god,
it's awesome.
And again, it's that thing like you saying, what do you need? want to do to push yourself. It's like little things like that. Then it's something else new. It's
Nobody has to do it. Like you say, it's the beauty of placing
That's
yourself
right,
in that position to try and adapt and try and improve.
Yeah. And it's just the type of, it depends if you want to do it. Let's say you don't have to do it. You don't have to be this super fit human to be a firefighter. It's just your personal choice. And if you love your fitness and you love what you do, then that's what
it's about being the best version of yourself, I suppose,
right,
as a firefighter as well. Now, the German one thing, because we did have start with the row, didn't we? So you're on the rower, and then you go into the deadlifts as well.
Oh no, I haven't done that one, but I know the one you're talking about.
That one's awesome.
It looks
so
a
we
really,
started
really good
with
one.
I'll get the numbers wrong now, but it was something like 20 or 30 deadlifts with, I don't know what it was, 40, 60 kilos, something like that. But you start with, I think it's a 500 meter row in just like your normal PT kit, your normal gym kit. Then you go straight into deadlifts, I think it was. Then it's step ups with 10 kilo weight in each hand. Then you go fire kit on. Then it's hose. Then it's back. Then it's climb a ladder, down a pole, and then it's connecting hose, dragging hose, hauling a loft, and then sprint finish with the dummy. Or you carry a massive log in that one.
It's a log, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big, heavy, beautiful, log, Austrian oak or whatever they are, something like that. It's absolutely awesome. But the is it the toughest firefighter alive, where the one is in 4 stages?
Yeah, that's again. I haven't done that one, but again, I've seen. I think
that was wicked.
Climbing walls.
You climb walls, and you finish with like 20 floors or something as well. So it's not just it's not just 3 floors. Yeah, you crawl through the tunnels, and I think it's 2 or 3 lengths of hose that you're connecting all together. And then again, there's different stages of it where you're under air, and then I think it's like a 6, pretty high now, a 10-foot wall, something like that.
I think so, yeah, something like that. And I think
a bloody big wall.
The quicker you do it, the more rest you get. Is that
right?
Is that how it works? So obviously, the longer you take,
so
the less rest
when you
start,
you're effectively the next station you're at has a specific start time. So the quicker you do this one, the more rest you get in between. And obviously, you finish. They'll clock your time for this, then you rest till your next stage begins. And the sooner you can complete every round, and then your end time on the 20 floors gets capped at the top again. And that one's awesome. And again, it tracks people from all over the world.
You got other targets.
I'm waiting for the Firefighter 10X to come out, where it says, right, at the beginning of this race, you have to pull a fire engine a mile. And that's the start of the race, or something like that. Just something obscene.
Yeah.
Do you know, where people are like, that's just ridiculous. Someone's going to get hurt. I'm like, no, most people will not be able to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I saw you and John McDonald did the ambulance, didn't you?
Yeah. Right? Pulled an ambulance, 1692 or whatever it is, 1862, 1860.
1948, was that the
1948?
1948 challenge, yeah.
I was there. I just can't remember. But no, pulling that 1.3 miles or whatever. And to be honest, that was a lot of fun. And that's the sort of stuff. And then when you get into the like David Goggins world, you know what I mean? 2,000 pull-ups or whatever he did. And you're like, I want me a bit of that. You know what I mean? Let's really get ridiculous. Let's get right into that, where even the fit people are like, that's just stupid. This is why would you do that? And that's where I'm kind of at with the ice bath and everything else, just trying to push through that. Because, it comes back to when we say, you join the fire service. Wow, you're a firefighter. You must be really fit and healthy. And then when you're in the job, you're kind of like, yeah, we're all fit and healthy, but what's next? And then you've got people doing fitness challenges. And you've done a lot of rowing, Dean, as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so during lockdown, obviously with all the firefighter challenges being cancelled, I needed something to do. I do need a target to train for. And I come across the British Rowing Virtual Championships.
Okay.
So similar to what Cheshire did, they thought, well, we're going to carry on and do something. So, they did it virtually. So I've got a Concept 2 rower at home, so that was lucky.
Beautiful. Great bit of kit.
Yeah, so that was great. You plugged it into your laptop, obviously connects up to them guys there. And
to make sure it's all legit,
So it's all completely legit. There's no way of cheating. It's all wired up to their computers. And you can see the guys you're racing against. If you look across at your laptop like that, you could see where your boat was against the others.
That's awesome.
During lockdown, I changed my training to, obviously, because I was having to train at home, very limited kit. But like I say, one of the things I have got is a rower. So I did a lot of rowing. And I entered the 500 metre race.
There's some fast 500 metres out there, isn't there?
Yeah,
very
little
bit.
There's people pulling times there. I mean, I can't even pull that for a few seconds. It was outrageous. I did quite well. I finished 9th. So I was happy with that, and like I say, it was something.
And that's, you know,
something to
you
train
say
for.
9. This is not out of 20 people. You know, there was thousands of people.
There's
doing
lots of people, yeah. And again, because it was virtual, it was open to the whole world.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just your local people going along, or just the people from the UK. There's people from America, Australia, India, everywhere. You know,
So when you're looking at your biomechanics there, I mean, deadlifting and stuff would have really came into play. What things did you have to change in terms of that sort of training?
Yeah, so through lockdown, I didn't have access to many weights at all. I think I had about 30 kilos of weights. So the heavy deadlifts, the squats, obviously they all went out the window. But I had to improvise. I didn't want to lose the strength that I built up.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what can I do with this 30 kilos? So just use single leg. You know, instead of doing a full-on squat, then do single leg stuff, step ups. I made myself a box, a wooden box. You know, the 30-inch. So 30 kilos on my back.
Have you mastered the pistol squat yet?
No, I haven't got the flexibility.
That's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I've about got the flexibility there. But again, I'm still around 18 stone, and to drop all that down through one knee. I mean, are you pistoling?
I can.
Claim made. We will film it for everybody just after this.
I have done it. I haven't done it for a little while, but it's
no joke, is it? You know,
No,
you see some CrossFitters out there, and they drop into them, they do 10, and everybody's like, it can't be that hard. Have you tried?
Yeah, and when you watch the Reebok CrossFit, and you watch was it Matt Fraser, Rich Froning, and you watch them, and they're doing pistol
And they do it
squats.
like a kettlebell above their head as well.
Yeah, they do they do lunges with kettlebell above their head, and I'm like, wow, that's extreme. You know,
it's so easy to see it and go, I could if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Honestly, do you think you could? I mean, maybe after your 6 months of training, maybe. But there's a lot, again, you know, there's a lot of biomechanics that goes into there, a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
Some people, if they just try and drop down to that, the heel lifts. They just haven't got that, you know, we say plantar flexion, dorsiflexion in the ankle. They haven't got that mobility. It's really, really difficult. And you're a tall guy as well.
Yeah, and it's getting that balance as well. You know, I don't honestly say I have to stand somewhere near something, because you lose your balance and you can hurt yourself. So,
yeah, you can.
So you've got to be confident in what you're about to do.
But again, this is stuff people can do at home. So Dean, you were getting creative. You know, you're doing the single legs. You made yourself a box.
Yeah, exactly. And like you just spoke about the flexibility there, I thought this is a great time to actually work on my flexibility and mobility, because I'm getting a little bit older now, 42. But certainly notice my flexibility and mobility is not as good as it should be. So.
I hear what you're saying with age, but I don't think it is directly correlated with age. It isn't. Let me hear what you say. We stretch a lot when we're young. Yeah, kids rolling all over the floor. They're bloody everywhere, aren't they? They seem to stretch all the damn time. We go, oh God, it's easy for them. They're so flexible. But it's like the chicken and egg. Do you know what I mean? Which one comes first? They're flexible because they stretch all the time. And as you get older, people think, well, you get less flexible as you get older. Yeah, maybe. But all that also increases is the time from when you were doing a lot of it. That time just expands as you get older. So it's just the flexibility atrophies almost. You know, I tell all my clients, you know, stretch 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening at least. Get on the floor, do it in the lounge. You're already sitting there anyway. You'd be sitting there with a coffee, your breakfast, whatever. Get on the damn floor. You know, just do a few, you know, pigeon stretch, you know, stretch out the groin, stretch out the hips, do a few lumbar rotations, all this sort of stuff. It's such a game changer with your flexibility. What was your sort of routine with your stretching, Dean?
Yeah, so again, I bought myself a roller, foam roller.
Awesome bit of kit.
And then a ball size of a tennis ball sort of thing. And
not expensive stuff.
No, not expensive at all. I've had a few problems with back injuries in the past. And I think that was when the physio saw me, you know, I think it was linked to tight IT bands and stuff like that. But it's certainly a side of fitness that I've neglected massively. I think I used to do it if I had a problem, you know, if my back started to twinge a little bit, I better start doing this, but then it'd feel good, and then I'd neglect it again. But now, say this summer, I definitely took the opportunity to...
I always talk to people about prehab work, because a lot of people hear foam roller, they're like, oh yeah, like you mean for rehab? And I'm like, no, all the time.
Yeah,
exactly. Resistance bands. Yeah, they're like, oh, you mean like when you get like a rotator cuff injury? I'm like, no, all the time.
No, do it to prevent the injury.
Do it prehab,
exactly.
Do it to prevent it. Because it's ironic, people go, I had a problem, and then I got a cool stretching routine, then it got better. But I keep getting it every now and again. Well, when you stop stretching? Well, yeah, kind of when I do that, to be honest. You're like, well, there's not a bit of a thing coming on here, guys, a bit of a pattern emerging. It's got to be a core part of it, because most people find it hard just to get in and do a workout. They're like, you know, I'll go and got the motivation to do it. And it's great to hear, you know, you guys and a lot of athletes, when they get into that level where they're like, I can train, and I'm not struggling with the discipline of training, but then it's making it sustainable. You know, we talk about training harder versus training smarter. Do you know what I mean? Start putting that. So, I mean, is that still part of your daily routine now or weekly routine?
Yeah, most definitely. I think of it as if I'm injured, I can't train.
Yeah.
So if I can prevent the injury, if I can keep on top of keeping the muscles loose, the good mobility, I'm less likely to get injured, and then obviously I can carry on training.
What do you think's been the biggest adaptation in your training, Aaron? Because like you joined when you're 18, you're a different stage in your life now, you're a different age, you've built a lot of mass, you're a more muscular guy now. What things have you lessons you've learned that people might find benefit in?
So personally, because everyone's different, aren't they? You know, say height, their physical abilities, their lifestyles, it's so different. So for myself, say when you're younger, you think you're invincible a little bit, don't you? You're like, I can push that, I can do that, and you get injured. And we're just talking about age. Yes, age is just a number, but you do have to adapt to
get smarter.
You do have to be smarter. And again, you don't want to get injured for work, because when you're off work, then you're causing problems. So you want to be fit. So the way I've just changed it is that I lift not such heavier weights. It's more functional. I realised quite quickly that I used to push some heavy weights. I wasn't a massive bodybuilder, but I liked lifting heavy. But I got injured a lot.
What sort of injuries do you get?
Being, say, 6'5", back injuries, massive. I used to get a lot of back injuries, and as soon as your back goes, that's it.
I had a prolapse disc once. You know, I pulled 340, and I got a disc issue about a week later. It took me out for like 8 months. It was mad. And
then you ruin that's it. That's you out for 8 months. So as soon as you just sort of stop your training,
kept recurring as well, because I was trying to just continue lifting heavy, and I'll switch to squats, and then I'll pop it again. And I was so inflexible at that time. I was like 23 stone. Do you know what I mean? So I was not pushing that flexibility where it needed to be. But as you've said, it's just a case of getting a little bit smarter with it. Yeah,
and I've just started to change my training. Realised, well, okay, I don't have to be big and massive to do this job. I just need to be able to do my job. So I just adapted. So it was. I love my body weight exercises. So I do a lot of squats, press ups, pull ups, and then I do my training at work. So then you do your hose running, you do some casualty drag, and then say doing all your functional stuff that relates to your job. So I've started to train a lot smarter, because then I've realised now I've got to do this job till I'm 60, and that's another 24 years of me working and not getting injured and not creating an injury that could be a permanent one in the long term.
Absolutely. How do you find that urge between trying to make it nice and complex and sexy? Because some people are drawn to all these glistening machines in a gym, and I've been there. You know, I like a good machine every now and again, but some people hear bodyweight squats and press ups, they're like, doing whatever. Do you know what I mean? But that builds such a concrete foundation. How do you make yourself do that versus just heading into the leg press every day, or the restricted shoulder press or whatever like that?
On the machines? I try and design my own little workouts, really. Pinterest. Love a bit of Pinterest.
Absolutely. Some really creative stuff out there.
There's some very good creative stuff. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. There's lots of things on YouTube. So I'm just trying to be as creative as possible. So we talked about CrossFit earlier. Love a little bit of CrossFit. So again, you can adapt your training. And I'll just take little bits from different places, I suppose, and just trying to, like you say, sexy it up a little bit and make it.
I think COVID and the lockdown has forced a lot of people's resourcefulness. Do you know what I mean? Because the resources have been taken away from us, if you will, but our resourcefulness has never been stronger. It's pushed people into that corner of, get creative. Get creative. So I mean, this is a good question I like to ask some guests: is you've got £100. You buy one piece of kit. You've got £100 to buy one piece of equipment to assist your training and or sport. We've spoken about a few things, whether it's stretching, this, that, the other. What would you buy, Aaron? God, £100.
Wow, that's a really hard question. Really hard question.
Because that's a reasonable sum of money for people out there that might be thinking, like, I ain't waiting for the gym. I don't know when it's going to open again. I don't even want to go back because maybe it's a little bit scary, or don't like the social distancing or whatever. People aren't doing it properly. You've got £100. You're going to buy something.
One thing, or can I buy a couple of things?
You got £100, mate. Do it the way you want.
I don't know. I like the weighted vest.
Weight vest?
Because like I was saying about the body weight stuff, you've got it. It's there,
Yeah.
There's lots of
you
things.
Want more load, you want more resistance?
That's right, yeah.
Bang the vest on.
You got a bit more weight. You add a little bit of weight to it, and then it helps with your press-ups, with your squats. There's always some sort of stairs, ledge, chair. You can do tricep dips off of that. You can do.
So I'm going to give you 60 quid for that. So you got 40 quid left.
Wow,
I think you get one for 60 quid probably.
Yeah. So then I most probably add a few dumbbells, I think, into the equation. Just add a little bit of weight to be able to do.
Yeah.
Lunges, bicep curls. Then you again, yes, I've got my weighted vest, but then you can do your weight. You've got your squats with your dumbbells and.
So Dean, you know what's going, brother, and you can't have the same ones.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think you could get a Concept 2 for 100 quid.
No,
maybe a second hand one. I don't know.
Sorry,
third
mate,
hand.
Yeah.
No, I think one of the best bits of equipment that I got my hands on was a tyre. Tyres, I'd say. So I got
Dirt cheap.
Yeah.
10 quid. You probably get them for free.
Got one for free.
I've got some big tyres at my gym. Free.
Yeah, I did see them this
So
morning.
you got tyres, yeah?
So yeah, just a normal car tyre. I picked it up from my mate's garage, so it didn't cost me a penny. Put a bit of ply in the bottom. Bought a sandbag from the local DIY store.
Yeah.
Put a strap on it, and there I am doing drags, pull. So I'm replicating the casualty drag, replicating the hose pull. And I did manage to get myself one of the bigger tractor tyres as well.
Beautiful.
So doing the flips.
So I think you spent about 10 quid there. He's blown you out the water
No,
so
he's
far.
done really well.
What else do you want, brother? You've got 90 quid left. What are you going for?
Not a good budget here. That's okay.
I know.
Spend the rest of the weekend, I think.
I mean, you can get your rollers for like 20 quid. You know what I mean? So you get your rumble rollers and your tyres. You spent 30 quid there. What else are you going for?
Yeah, blimey. I think that would do me, but yeah, I'll go with Aaron's thing with the weighted vest as well.
Weighted vest is a great shout.
You put one of those on, and I mean, you can just do hill walks with them, hill sprints, short sprints with that on as well.
I love the dumbbells, but I'm going to try and trump you and go in with the kettlebell. Because I feel like dumbbell kettlebell, people are like, oh yeah, tomato. You know what? Nah, I think you can get a little bit more out of it with the kettlebell. There's some more functional movement that is just slightly more efficient. So, you know, if I was going to get a set of 24, 25 kilo, 10 kilo dumbbells, I'd probably go for a couple of 10 kettlebells.
Yeah.
Because again, you lift, carry, you do all your pressing movements, but then you're bringing in, you know, your swings and all that sort of stuff. I think we'd get out of quite a nice gym there.
It's a nice weight as well. I think we don't have to go heavy.
Haven't got to be crazy. No. You know what I mean? Anybody that's listening, try and drop into that single leg with it. And if you can manage a pistol squat, more power to you. Yeah. Now throw that 10 kilo kettlebell above your head and see how far we get.
Yeah.
So Dean, you've spoken a lot about doing training at home and stuff like that, but you got kids. So a lot of people are hearing this and going, oh yeah, it all sounds wonderful, guys, but I've got kids. So, I mean, how do you find that balance?
It is difficult, but one of the good things about the shift pattern I work on is the 2-2-4. So you work 2 days, 2 night shifts, 4 days off, and obviously repeats. So a lot of it is to do with forward planning, really. Yeah. Especially my 2 children, they're both very, very active. Both do their own sports. They're at clubs every single day of the week.
Yeah. Have you done much with them during lockdown, as in like, 'cause obviously been at home with you?
Yeah. So obviously all my training was at home. So luckily we had quite good weather as well, didn't we?
Yeah,
so
really good.
Out in the back garden. So we were setting each other different challenges.
And tyres and stuff is all safe for kids. And, you know, I mean, Aaron, you talk about the body weight stuff.
Yeah.
It's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a body.
Yeah, no excuses.
No excuses, guys.
Got your body weight. And
You've got a patch of ground 2 meters by 1 meter in a room or out in your garden or in the park.
Yeah, and you can support your own body weight, and great. You're on the road to getting fit.
So that's where I'm gonna head there with that last sort of spare 20 quid. You know, the TRX bands. Because for people that struggle with their own body weight, you know, you get a set of TRX, you clip it anywhere, clip it to a tree, you know, clip it to the back door, get them little wedges or something. So if you do struggle, so people will be like, oh yeah, it's all right for you, you can do a burpee. Yeah. I can't even bend down and stand up.
Yeah.
But you get a set of TRX, you know, you do your assisted squats, you know, it's sort of like in between 40-50% of your own body weight. So there's and again, they're very inexpensive, 20-30 quid, if that, you can get a set of that. So you're balancing that at home. How do you balance it in the job? Because you both see some quite challenging things as part of your role. How do you manage to separate that from being at home? Because some people might want to be a firefighter, but they think, you know what, you guys, you see dead bodies and, you know, it's tough. How do you separate it? Or do you share it with your family? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't discuss that sort of thing with the children, obviously, but I've certainly talked to the wife about it. I mean, she's every day when I come back in from work, you're like, what did you have? What did you? Or I saw on Twitter you did this, or I saw on the news, you was at this job and this and that.
How important do you think it is to share that with other people? Because some people just say, "No, bottle it up." Do you think that's an effective solution, or because mental health is huge for operational personnel these days? And it always has been, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to talk. Well, everyone's different. Everyone is different. Everyone copes with things differently. Personally, I'll talk to the wife. Obviously, there's always that stigma as well, isn't there, with mental health, especially with men as well. You can get
can be, you're right.
Yeah, guys won't want to talk about things because they see it as a weakness or whatever. But no, I'm quite happy to speak to the lads on the watch, speak with the wife as well. So yeah, I have got to. Luckily, it hasn't, touch wood, hasn't affected me at all so far. But yeah, certainly. What
about yourself, Aaron? Have you found, do you talk with members of the watch or your family, your partner?
Yeah, so I've got a very supportive wife. I met her when I was quite young, so I was 19, she was 17. So she's been through it with you. She's been part of the fire brigade. So she's it's a big commitment when you're in the fire brigade.
Yeah.
You become family. The job becomes very personal to you because of the things you do, you see. So very supportive family, wife and kids. Yes, I've spoken to watch members before. I speak to my wife. But yeah, mental health is very real and it's very recognised now. And
it's great that we've got a support structure in place for it now as well. There's a lot of things that have happened in the service over the past sort of 10 or 15 years which have really given us that structure. I mean, Dean, you've been in it for a number of years now, a good sort of 5. How long have you been in the service now?
It's coming up for 7 years.
Coming up for 7 years. So as you look back at that 7 years, what's that moment if somebody said to you, didn't know anything about the fire service, they said, what's in it for me? What's your greatest memory of the fire service so far?
Greatest memory? Wow. That is a difficult one to answer because there's a lot of memories that. No, in fact, there is one actually. I think any time you get recognition, basically, any time you're recognised for something you've done, is great. You're sort of proud of that. But yeah, there was one particular job once where we were sort of left scratching our heads. It was a triple fatality. It was having to remove 3 casualties from a car, but had to do it dignified. And yeah, we were sort of scratching our heads at one point where like. I don't think we're actually going to get these people out.
Really?
But I came up with an idea. We went with it. There's a lot of officers on looking as well, and it worked. And yeah, I got a bit of recognition for that afterwards.
Acknowledgement can be very rare these days. I did a post about it the other day, and I think it's a really British thing that we don't really recognise and acknowledge each other perhaps as much as we should. And I think that sort of compounds when we talk about this men's mental health. We're like, you should just get on with it, be big, be brave, be whatever. We say it to our kids sometimes. It's really damaging, but acknowledging each other. And it's great to see that people are doing that more in the job now. I think recognition in my brigade has gotten a lot better as well because, yes, you're expected that. It's an expectation of the job that you do. But it's always important to be acknowledged by it, both by the members of the public and also by your peers as well. I mean, Aaron, you've been in, like you say, since you're 18, so you've got a massive breadth of knowledge and stuff like that. What's been one of your greatest moments?
Again, like Dean said, it's a really hard question. Recognition, definitely the big thing. My memory is meeting people. Generally, the amount of people you meet, members of the public, but watch members and officers, just the fact that you meet all these different people, these different characters, and you build great frientsps. And
it really does attract some really quirky and interesting characters into the fire service. Definitely.
Because with the job, it can be a bit doom and gloom, but sometimes there are a lot of good things with the job as well. Yeah, yes, that's part of the job. You are dealing with difficult situations and horrible situations, but meeting the people and actually. Getting that recognition for what you've done, I like that. That's
a huge part of it, isn't it?
It is a massive part of it.
So, Dean, for anybody that's been listening and they've liked sort of some of the stuff you guys have been going on about, what advice would you give to either yourself, when you were in your 30s trying to join, or someone else that was looking to join the fire service now, but perhaps they haven't got that little bit of self-belief? What would you be advice to them?
Do it. Simple as that. Just do it.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. And like I say, I wish I was like that in my 20s. But yeah, believe in yourself. Go and do it. You know, I've read a few books, the David Goggins book and Middleton's. You know, that Ross Edgley as well. Those sort of, and you look at the stuff they've done and they're doing, and where they've come from. You know, the backgrounds they've had, and that anyone can do anything. They've got their mind to it. But as we said earlier, nothing's going to get handed to you on a plate. You've got to work for it.
Opportunity is not going to come and knock on your door. It's not going to interrupt you in your life and say, "Oh, here's the thing you've been waiting for." It's there. It's on the edge of the dance floor, just waiting for you to grab hold and have a little bit of a dance. You're going to fall over a few times, but the opportunity's there.
Don't go into things blind either. Do your research, do your study. You know, get the books out and look at what you've got to do. I remember when I was going through the process of joining the fire brigade. I went out and I researched stuff. You know, I looked at the PQAs. I bought books on it, and I read them, and you know, and
there's always those people that have been before you as well. I mean, did you seek guidance from anybody, Aaron, from like when you were first joining? What would your advice be?
My advice would be is that I looked for people. I spoke to people, because my biggest thing was confidence. When you've been knocked down for nearly 7 years before I got in, that's a massive, you know, knocks your confidence.
And there might be people in your inner circle saying, "Aren't you getting the clue now, mate?
Yeah.
You're not meant to do this."
Yeah, you need to stop. And I was determined. So you have to get some knowledge, speak to people, say, "What am I doing wrong?" Get a little bit of help. There's nothing wrong asking for help, because that's how you're gonna get in it. You say it's not going to be handed to you on a plate, and be confident. You will have something to give.
Absolutely.
You will definitely have something to give, because everyone's different in the fire brigades. Everyone's got a different personality. Everyone's got a different background, and you will have something to give.
Well, Dean, Aaron, you're both on social media, so I know you'll be happy for everybody to reach out to you for all their questions to get themselves into the fire service. Fellas, thank you for coming on the Firefighters Podcast today, and I'll see you soon.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Boom.
Brilliant.
Well, there it is, guys. Aaron and Dean, what an episode. Thank you for tuning into the Firefighters Podcast once again. I really appreciate you showing up. Make sure you stay in touch with the Instagram channel, with the Facebook. Keep your finger on the pulse. Next episode will be out real soon, guys. One every single week, remember. If you would like to reach out with the podcast, if you've got a story to tell, if you know somebody in the emergency services who has a powerful story to share with us, get them to phone in. Thank you once again for listening. Stay safe out there.